Hi there. My name is Svetlana Stefanova, and I'm the executive director of the 17th Annual Damn Short Film Festival. We have a Q&A with the filmmakers from our International C program today. So let's just get our filmmakers up on the screen and introduce everybody. So we've been doing this virtually, broadcasting live from Boulder City, Nevada, and all over, being able to connect with our filmmakers wherever they are, which is amazing to be able to do during the pandemic. So let's just start. I'll have you guys introduce yourself. We'll start with Keely.
Hi, my name's Keely. I'm a producer on The Tide. Liam is set to join us, but I think he's the writer. He's struggling getting on at the moment, I think. But yeah, we filmed it in November 2019, and it's finished to edit this year and on its festival last year. Then it's on its festival circuit now.
Awesome! Thank you for joining us. And Miguel, what was your film, and what role did you have on that film?
Hi, my name is Miguel Lambert. I'm a French-Canadian director, and I'm the director and writer of The King is Dead, the short film and the selection of International C. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. So right now we're live all over the internet on Eventive, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. So anyone out there, please use the live chat, send in your question. We will be taking questions for all the filmmakers. I'm going to start it off with my own question. Why was it important to you that your film's story was told? We'll start with Keely.
Sorry, I think I just muted myself. Sorry.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay, great. So it's a shame Liam isn't here because it's a very personal story to him. So it's about a fishing community in Yorkshire, a very working class community, and Liam's family were part of the fishing community, and his brother actually, so when the decline of fishing happened in the UK, his brother took his own life just because of all the issues surrounding that. So it's a very personal film to Liam. It's not directly about that, but it's obviously inspired by these real life events. And Liam and I actually worked on a theatre project together, and that's how I sort of was how we sort of started our relationship together. And I just feel very connected to stories of mental health and suicide. I'm from I know in America you don't really have the class system, but in the UK we've got quite a class system over here. So I'm quite connected to that working class community. And so those industry matters are quite, really important to me. You know, my own family are sort of from a mining community, and all the issues that surround that, you know, and that very toxic masculinity that can come with that. And I think the film really explores all of that. So it was something that just really spoke to me.
Oh, we've got a joiner.
Hello.
What's your name, and what project did you work on, and what was your role on that film?
My name is Sama, and I worked on Bambirak, and I was the writer-director.
Amazing. Thank you for joining us. We were just going around, and I had asked the question, why was this story so important for you to tell? Since you're talking to you right now, why don't you answer that question, and then we'll go to Miguel.
The story actually was very personal. It came out of my own life as a child growing up in Germany. And it tackles being a first generation immigrant child. For me, it was very important to actually personally understand my parents and their frustration of integrating, whereas I grew up here and my memories started in Germany, so I never had that conflict, and I always thought I belonged. And only when I was older and I moved away from Germany and came back, and I was insulted hearing the things, foreigners out, shit piece of Muslim, like that happened to me, but in a grown-up age, I suddenly started to reflect and understand my parents. So the film is about a father and a daughter who try to come together and understand each other, but who deal with the subject matter of subtle everyday racism in different ways. They have two different perspectives. Yeah. So for me, it was important to shine a light on that because a lot of people, I think, a lot of families go through this problem.
Definitely, absolutely. Thank you so much for telling that story. Miguel, how about you? Why was your story important for you?
It was important for me to explore new things because it was a student film. This The King is Dead, and I wanted to explore new avenues with the genre of. I'm sorry, I'm starting with words with the English. With the genre of high school, classical high school films. So I wanted to make sure that you identify the movie as a classic high school film, which is not at the end because the message is different, the point of view is different about who the girl portrays in the film, who she is, and I wanted to explore these ideas. And with that, I wanted to do it too in this fantastic world where I can just exaggerate my imagination about what it is to be the queen of the school, what it is to represent it. It is a position that you don't really want it to be there, but people put that on their own, put you there on their own. So that's something I wanted to explore and just like deconstruct the codes of the high school films, classical ones.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So we are asking questions to these filmmakers live. So please send us a question. I will continue asking questions until we get some questions from the audience. So another question for everybody. We all know how difficult the pandemic has been for all of us, and it has forced us all to adapt in one way or another. In what ways has it affected your approach to your craft, and do you think that there are elements of that change that you will carry with you as you move forward? We'll start with Keely.
Yeah, with the Tide, we filmed it outside of the pandemic, but I'm starting on a slate of other films, and we were due to film one in January, and obviously that's all been pushed back. I suppose the biggest challenge is because we're still being told in the UK that we can carry on filming, and that we can do that. But on these smaller budgets for short films, it's just becoming a bit too difficult to do because we have to test everyone, and all the sort of the budgetary things are just becoming a lot trickier. On a sort of more creative side of things, we just have to be very clever with how we film things. Like there's something we're about to film in Bradford, which is in the north of the UK, where it was supposed to be a big indoor scene in a church with loads of people in, and we were just thinking, trying to find creative ways around that and how we can cleverly create that, I suppose. So I think there's some exciting challenges that it does pose, but also it does become very, very tricky just to keep everyone safe. And I've heard a lot of producers saying, I'm just not doing anything right now. You would not get me to touch anything right now because it's just too stressful. But I think, which I totally understand, but I think there's really creative ways you can make things happen. And I think, a lot of stuff is moving out, finding stuff that you can film outdoors as well without having to be inside and putting people at risk. So, yeah.
Definitely. And I'm just going to go kind of with my questions. I'm just going to go in like a clockwise manner. So when you'll be next. Miguel, same question to you.
For me, the King's Day was made way before the pandemic, and now I'm working on new projects. And I'm mostly writing right now. I think it's the easier solution than just go directing and then being in this COVID status. I'm not saying no to directing other stuff right now in the pandemic, but I'm thinking it's the right time right now to just develop new projects. I'm writing my first feature film, so that's pretty much what I'm trying to do as much right now. And I don't think the pandemic will impact my my creation or something. I'm sure it will be it will help a lot of people to find new subject and everything, but it's not something I want to remember as much. So I wanted to like just try to do new stuff, and I don't know. I don't want to like make movies about that, I think.
Yeah. I'm sorry. How do you pronounce your name again?
Zamarin.
Zamarin. Okay. Zamarin, same question to you.
So yeah, Bambi Jacques was also made before the pandemic, but actually I was doing the final stages of post during the pandemic, so like color and sound and it actually helped me to really sit down and focus just on this one, like finishing touches and credits and all these things that come after the final edit. But yeah, so it didn't really affect the film or the production of the film. It actually helped it to get it to the finishing line in early 2020. Yeah, so yeah, but pre-production we weren't affected at all because it was before Corona. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I have another question for all of you guys. Let's see. What was your favorite part about working on this film? Keely, we'll start with you again.
I think we were absolutely bonkers to film in November in the North Sea in the UK. So we were on a fishing trawler in the North Sea in November, and it was absolutely freezing. However, I think, just being on location in those very crazy situations, it just creates a brilliant camaraderie between everyone. And, the film is about, that fishing community. And I think like there's something really special about us creating our own sort of crew community on that fishing boat. And I just think, yeah, just how the freezing cold weather and just everyone getting really stuck in was just a really brilliant part of the filming. And it was very choppy at sea for a lot of it, so had a lot of sick cast and crew, but in a way it just made it all the better.
How big was your crew?
There was about 20 of us. Yeah, obviously not all on the trawler at the same time, but yeah, we had to kind of, because we weren't at sea for the full thing either. We were in pubs and different spaces, but a lot of it was filmed at sea. Very reliant on the weather.
It's very beautiful. So yeah, that's crazy. Miguel, what was your favorite part about working on your project?
I think my favorite part was we shot the first scene in the film. We were like in a school program, right? So we had like 2 strict days to make the movies, and we planned this crazy shot that nobody believed it was be able to make, or none of our teachers thought it would be able to make it. And we had even made it 6 hours to make the shot. And I was like, it was incredible. It won't take 6 hours. It's impossible. It's not that complicated. I never did the shot like that before. It actually took 6 hours to do it. And at the end of it, we were just like, people were just saying, just stop it. Just like do something else, or you won't gonna make it. You're just gonna lose your project, right? And me and my cinematographer were just like, that's what we wanted. That's how we saw it. And we just been working for like 6 hours, like for the whole, like how to, like people in the background, how it want to make it out. And at some point it finally happened. Like it was like a continuous shot. So we had so many stuff had to be happening again and again. And it was happening, and I was just frozen before my screen watching the shot. And when it finally over, screen cut, and then just started running in the gymnasium, and like then like a lap of celebrating and just like high-fiving everyone, and just like we're so proud that we actually made the shot, and then just started the shooting. So it was the first shot of the day. It took 6 hours, but we're really, really, really proud. So
oh wow, we have another joiner. Hi there.
Hi.
Please introduce yourself and tell us what project you worked on and what your role was.
Well, I work with Keely on The Tide. My name's Liam Thomas, and I co-produced with Keely and wrote the film and appear in it as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
No, I'm sorry. I was having a few difficulties in that I'm in a garden shed here in the UK, and a few problems with Wi-Fi, but I've got you now.
Great. So why was your story important for you to tell?
Well, I forgive me jumping in late, but Keely may have mentioned this. I grew up in a fishing town, in a coastal town. I went to sea for a time myself early in my life, but my brother was a fisherman who sadly we lost to mental health issues. But Tide kind of came about as a result of a story he told me in one of the last meetings I had with him. And I kind of, we wanted to sort of really kind of, I guess, pay tribute to him, in terms of, that was the idea when I sat down to write the film, but also maybe, hope that in making the Tide as a proof of concept, that we might get an opportunity in the fullness of time to tell a bigger story about a fishing community, where I say I grew up, and so that was it. So it was something of a labor of love, and I was, I kind of, had long conversations with Keely how we might approach it, and there's a sort of group of us here in the north of England, in Yorkshire, in the UK, creatives that have worked together in the past, and Keely and I were working on a theatre project, and while doing that theatre project, which was actually in a coastal town, Scarborough, where we shot the film, kind of had the idea and saw the way that I might, start to sit down and develop this anecdote that my brother had told me about an incident when he was at sea. So it all kind of, little big, from a little acorn, it kind of, the idea grew, and here we are.
Here we are. Yeah. Very important issues that many people face. So thank you so much for sharing that. So we are taking questions from the audience. If you're tuning in, please send in a question. I guess I'll just keep asking questions, and to keep it fair, I'm just gonna, just one of you can answer each question from the Tide. So my next question is, so what was, I just asked you what your favorite part was. What was the most difficult? You may have already sort of answered that, but I'll start with Zamarin, please. Oh, you're muted.
The most difficult for me was actually, I had a lot of driving, but that was actually not the most difficult because it was very visual, and acting wise, it was easy on the actors. For me, it was like the stationary flower shop scene where they had this fight, like kids had a fight. And I did it for my first time to kind of work with kids and have them in a like fighting and back and forth. And first of all, how to direct this. So like they started to laugh, because it was fun to fight. And then they started to kind of become very serious, and you're like, oh my God, when should I stop it? Like as a director, you just think this is good. But then my assistant directing, because I just didn't cut, I was like, oh my God, this feels real. He was just at some point, he was like, okay, Zama, we have to stop. And I was like, yeah, okay, stop it. We got it. It's like just finding the balance of, okay, these are kids, they're having fun, but these are kids, they're taking it too far right now, and they might, like we were smashing flower pots, so they might get hurt and they might push each other on the ground, which kind of happened. For me, that was the most difficult, like really coordinating all these children and making sure you don't hurt them and getting the shot you want and the feeling you want.
Yeah, getting lost in that moment. And Miguel, how about you?
I think the most difficult for me was meeting our ambitions for the film, since we didn't have any time or budget. Well, we had some, but like not enough for what we wanted to do. So we mostly had to like prepare scenes in the same times that we were shooting others, like in the same room. So lighting both scenes at the same time, and I had to like prepare the both places at the time. So that was like a little hard to focus on one scene, but we had no choice if we wanted to make all these fantasy come true. So it was a difficulty, but it was a challenge that I really appreciated to accomplish.
That's great. And which one of you would like to take this question for the Tide? What was the most challenging, difficult part of your project? Maybe Liam, since he just.
Do you know what I think? I mean, aside from I think when I jumped in, I was hearing Keely tell you that the difficulties we had shooting in the sort of midwinter on a decommissioned trawler. But actually, our first day's shooting was at sea, and the weather wasn't being very kind to us, and we had to. It's a scene in the film where myself and the other crew member, played by Richard Galloway, are gutting fish. So I don't know, I mean, if you're not, it's to set that shot up in a rolling old decommissioned trawler, and we were out there for, I think, about 12 hours. And in the beginning, I thought, I just can't see how we're going to get this, but we did, and we managed to stay at sea and it's kind of pivotal. There's not a lot of dialogue, but it was key to show the sort of relationship between the characters. So the fact that we actually, managed to sort of persevere and stay out there in the elements on the first day of shooting, it was where we kind of said, well, you know what, if we can get through this, then I think we're going to be okay. So it was, I don't know, maybe my brother was up, who knew the sea well, was up there looking out for us. But that was a kind of big thing for me.
We are still taking questions from the audience, so please, somebody tune in. I will ask another question. How did you get into filmmaking? Zemarin, we'll start with you. Oh, you're muted.
Actually, it was, sorry. I got into filmmaking during my undergraduate degree. I was always interested in film, but it was never like something I pursued like in school. Like I was an arts major and I was really good in drawing and enjoyed telling stories, and photography. So I went to England to study like photography and visual arts. And then in my last year, actually, I took one elective course, which was script writing. And there I met my first collaborator. And we went on to do like this film, a short film. And it was the first time I did a film actually with a student crew. And after that, I decided to actually, that's what I want to do. And I have fun with it. And this brings all the arts together I enjoy.
Awesome. Miguel, we'll ask the same question.
Well, I've been watching and liking film for a long time, but how I got into filmmaking was actually an accident. I was in Quebec. There was like this school called CEGEP, which is before university, and I registered to CEGEP, but then I wanted to be an actor, and actually I subscribed to be a director of like filmmaking. And when I received my confirmation, I was like, well, might as well try. And that's how I got into filmmaking. Actually, that's like true story. I just started like having classes doing behind the camera, and I liked it, and kept going. Went to film school, and now I think I have like 6 short films or 7 short films, and working on other projects. So yeah, I'm pretty glad I made that mistake. And that's pretty much it.
And here you are.
Yeah.
So for the Tide, which one of you would like to answer this question? How did you get into filmmaking? Keely, you want to take
go on,
it?
Keely.
Yeah, sure. So I've come into it really late, actually, and this is my debut film. This is the first thing I've worked on. So I've worked in theatre as a performer and directing, and then from that you have to self-produce because who else is going to help you out. So I guess my producing's come from that, and then I work in factual television as a producer director. So I've kind of accrued those skills. But yeah, this is my first short and hopefully one of many. So yeah, come to it very late. You know, I'm mid-30s now, and most people are starting out in their 20s. So it's exciting.
Awesome. So my next question, if we still don't have questions from the audience, is what do you like about working on short films, and is the short film medium the medium that you mostly work in, or do you work on features? We'll start with Miguel on this one.
Well, I've been doing mostly short films. Like I did like web series too as a director and writer. I think like stories depend on the medium always. So you like if I have a story that goes as a short film, I'll do a short with it. If it's not, I'll just work it out as to be a feature one. But I'll just go into my drawer for a long time because there's a long list of projects I want to do first. Short films are easier to make for me since I have like simple ideas, and I like to make it short too when I make a short film, like real shorts, like 10 minutes or less or something like that. So it's easier to shoot and easier to like edit and in like in a short way. So I can have multiple projects at the same time. So that's what I like about short films. But I also think like I'll keep on going short films even if I start making feature ones, because like I said, it depends on the story. I don't see like short film as a step up to be making feature films. I think like you make short films if you feel like it's the right way for the story. Like sometimes I have ideas that actually are going to be like a book or something else. I mean, I don't like if I see like if we're artists, we just figure out which way to express ourselves. And I like doing that with short films for now.
Yes, definitely. And that's what we love about short film festivals, is just getting all those different perspectives and stories that, yes, aren't really supposed to be a feature-length film. And in fact, one of the, as a programmer, something we see a lot is films that are way too long as a short film, you know, so it's really important to get that story and screenwriting right to the medium. So definitely. Keely, or no, actually, I wanted to ask this to Liam. Same question.
Sorry, in terms of my route into becoming a filmmaker.
It was for short films. Do you mostly work on short films? What do you like about short films? Are you more into features? What's your?
Well, I kind of. Similar to Keely, I was a late starter, so I'm an actor and a writer now, and I have produced a little bit of theatre and co-produced this, but I actually had another life. So I was at sea for a while, and then oddly, I was a cop for many years here in the UK, which was, but it wasn't. I felt I missed the opportunity to do what I really wanted to do, which was to be an actor and to possibly write. So a little later in life, I found myself initially studying film. So I have a degree in film, and then I did a post-grad course in acting, and that was my way in. And you know, as most actors will tell you, that we have a lot of downtime. So I started writing, and started to get a bit of traction there, but always knew, you know, I guess having had a circuitous route to what I do now, to becoming a creative artist, I'm drawing, I guess, looking back on my own kind of, I don't know, the life experience to tap into for my storytelling, and so hence, you know, with wanting to sort of do something not only in tribute to my brother, but to write about fishing community that I grew up in, with Tide, and then with a few other projects that we hope to move on to. Kind of we'll be sort of drawing on that
and the short film medium
route.
And that short film medium was the perfect length for what the story you wanted to tell, or did you want that to be a feature eventually?
Well, yeah, to be honest, I knew that it would be difficult, you know, kind of maybe with as an sort of unknown writer to get the funding for a feature film. So we kind of had we made that, you know, Keely and I had sort of long discussions about perhaps what was the best way forward, and we thought, well, we certainly knew there was a short film here that, and if we looked at that, there's hopefully being a proof of concept that if it landed well, or we might kind of show that there was a bigger story to be told about this you know, world that is kind of passing by. I don't know if it's the same in the States, but certainly here in the UK, you know, the fishing communities are have perhaps not been best served over the years by successive administrations. And so, yeah, I just really wanted to sort of try and get to a place that we might get to work with a bigger canvas. And the short film medium is definitely, you know, one way of doing that. So that's why, you know, that's what attracted us, is certainly with The Tide, and another wee story that we're looking at now. Great.
Zemarin, what do you like about short films? Why did you choose to make your film a short film? And are you working on features? What's your story with that?
So my film was part of the NYU grad thesis project. So we you can do a feature, but almost no one can make it in that time. So yeah, like once I knew I'm gonna graduate, because I graduated as a cinematographer and shot a lot of shorts. So like for me, first of all, coming from the camera background into directing, I would like the short form was for me the best way also to, I say, practice, you know, like because I was not like a directing major and I was not confident enough to go into directing a feature or writing a feature. So the short form actually allowed me to explore and make a movie on a very, very low student budget with the tools I had and with a really small crew. And it also allowed me to be a bit more experimental than in a longer form, I feel, and to open up like to new ways of telling stories. And I really enjoy that about the short form in general, because you can really try things out before you actually go and make a feature, which is also, I think, like film is a collaborative and unfortunately expensive medium. But the short form allows you actually to use the tools you have and make the best out of it without like having a 90-minute movie in the end, but like having a solid, I say, art piece or film that you're proud of and you can practice more and more. But of course, like I'm now like starting to write. I actually wrote the feature like opposite of Miguel. I wrote the feature of Bambirak. I started to write it in my third year, realizing that I would not be able to graduate with a feature at all. And then I took like just the characters out of that feature film and just thought, what is the moment in this feature, or like the core of this feature that I can put into the short? And then the short script started to come alive, and that's where Bambirak actually came into life and is now standing on its own. But yeah, like for me it was the other way around. But yeah.
Well, it's definitely a story that I very much relate to. I moved to the States when I was 8.5 from Bulgaria, so not speaking a word of English, with just my parents, who were, you know, only family I have in the Western Hemisphere. So just completely, you know, different cultures, and so it's very interesting to be in that kind of world, and that perspective of the world that you have due to those experiences. I'm very proud of that, you know, and I'm sure you are as well with your background, and so yeah, thank you. Miguel, same question. Or no, I already asked Miguel. I'm sorry. Right? I did? Yeah? Okay, thank you. Let's see. So one thing that's obviously changed with the pandemic is, not being able to be together, in the networking that comes about with film festivals, and at our festival, that experience of the in-person event in beautiful downtown Boulder City, the historic 400-seat Boulder Theater. We always have an amazing audience for every program, and that's something that's obviously so important to filmmakers to see their film experienced by an attentive audience. There's no real replication of that in this format. We're trying our best to really recreate all the best aspects of our festival into this virtual world, and there's some things that work really well and some things that don't. I hope that you guys have had the opportunity to join into our virtual lounge, which is on Discord, and it's just like a little community that we now have, and it's there 24/7, and we can keep it open after the festival and still connect with these people. So there's some parts that are good and bad about the situation. Have you participated in other festivals with this particular film, and what has that experience been like, whether it's in person or virtual, and how do you compare those experiences? I'll start with the Tide. Which one of you would like to take this question?
I can go, yeah. So this is actually our first festival with the Tide, so it's really exciting. Yeah, so I think there's something really positive, that we can take out of this, because, we might not be able to afford to go to all the festivals that we would like to, with having to travel. So in a way, I think, well, we have to take the positive side of it, don't we? But there's something great about being able to connect with so many people all over the world, when we might not have been able to attend all of the festivals anyway. And as I mentioned, it's my sort of first film, and I haven't been to any film festivals before, so this is my first experience. I've got nothing to compare it to, so
well,
it'll be nice
so far.
Yeah. So it'd be really nice when when I can go somewhere in person, but but this has been great so far.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad we're your first festival. I hope it's good. Zamarin, same question.
So this is actually my premiere was in October in Show Me Shorts New Zealand, but it was in person because they didn't change it yet. But I couldn't go because of Corona, of course. They were really strict, and then I had some screenings at in Norway, like Uppsala in Sweden, I think, and Minima, like Northern Hemisphere, and they did it in person too, but I couldn't go. So it was. I had one festival, a really small one in Osnabrück, the last one before everything shut down, where I was participating, but with masks and under Corona restrictions, which was really nice because it was the one and only time I saw the film on a big screen, and I took my little actress with me, and we won the best student film, so she was really happy to receive it in person. But my first virtual film festival was just before the Sundance, and it was very interesting. We got like a VR set, and they created a lounge, and you should go through those Oculus VR set. You were able to walk around, and people had the avatars had faces, so you could go literally walk, click you want to go there. You walk there in your virtual reality world, and you start a conversation, which was really exciting. But at the same time, I found it quite frightening because I was like, oh my God, this is the future. We're going to soon be in a Matrix world. But it was a nice experience because you really felt like you were in this space. But the screenings, because of the time difference, for me, it was hard to be awake on the slot where I got a ticket to stream that movie. And it was like, even though, yeah, it wasn't kind of, I had a ticket, I most of the time couldn't stay up until 3 a.m. But yeah, other than that, I found it very, I like the effort kind of to have this virtual platform and trying to make it a festivalscape and have those meeting rooms where you can drop in and out and talk to the programmer and talk to the other filmmakers from your shorts program. So yeah, like Sundance was a very different one than I would have expected if it was in person.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. I've seen all that. Definitely not something that this year we could have put together, but definitely very interesting experiences and possibilities out there for what you can do. And it's amazing that we can also, still reach all the filmmakers all over. We can reach more filmmakers in this way, than who could travel out here. And it was obviously one of the most important thing to be able to have our filmmakers participate. And if it was going to be an in-person event, that's not going to happen. So, Miguel, how about you with the festival circuit? Have you experienced much virtual, in person with this film or others?
Well, for this film, it's been like a long ride for now. So I've been like I think it's like its 30th festival now. So like we've made like I went to a bunch of them, so I miss going to festivals. Like I would love to come to yours and like be there because I miss doing that. But I still love that we're still making virtual festivals because it's something we miss, right? Like just connect a little bit and to talk about our films. That's what makes us drive and keep on going and making others. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I miss that. I wish I could. There could be more of it. Actually, for the King is Dead, it's like it's keep on going. But I have a new one called Fearless Gopher, which is starting in festivals for a few months now. So I mostly try festival with this one, and yeah, there's this one in Canada. It's called there's like Vue dans la tête. We went to like it's a week ago, I think. And it was really nice, but it was really cozy with like a bunch of like we're not a lot of people, but it was fun. I mean, I liked the way it was like we had rooms to talk and everything. So at least there's that. Yeah.
Well, hopefully we can all get together soon and everything works out. So we are out of time. So I would like everyone to go around and tell people how to find you, whether it's social media or website. We'll start with Keely. Oh, you're muted.
Okay. Sorry, I should have had that ready. You can find us on Twitter at The Tide Short Film. And Instagram, I think, is exactly the same. So, yeah. And Liam, what is the website? It's Tide the Movie, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. www.tide the movie is our website. I'm so sorry. I've got a really bad connection here in my garden shed, so I'm kind of you're breaking. But I think you've got it, Keely. I think you got it there.
Great, thank you, Zamarin. How can we find you?
So we have an Instagram for the film, which is called Bambirak the Film altogether. And then I don't have a separate website for it, but it might be too long. But you can kind of, if you Google Bambirak the Film, it will lead you to Killjoy Films DE, which is the production company, and yeah, and you can find us there as well.
Great, thank you, Miguel.
There's a Facebook page called The King is Dead, and you can always contact my distributors. Welcome Aboard, who are now distributing The King is Dead, The Mattress King, and Fearless Gopher. So if you have any questions regarding those films too, you can join them.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us and for making amazing films and submitting them to the Damn Short Film Festival. We hope that you submit again, and we can see you in person. We're about to have another Q&A session at noon. It is Sci-Fi A, so please tune in and ask questions next time. All right, bye guys.
Thank you.